I've always had this one filter through which I look at every new career opportunity is like the mistake shouldn't be boring.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host Pritish Sanyal and you're listening to the 1% Project. Conversations that will help you understand how some of the smartest minds build, scale and operate new ideas and ventures. If you enjoy these conversations, do share and subscribe. My next guest on the 1% Project is the hilarious and talented Devaiah Bopanna, co-founder of All Things Small and former head writer at AIB. I was introduced to Devaiah and his work through an article about his recent nationally acclaimed CRED IPL Ad series that he co-wrote with his ex-AIB colleagues. The series is a bold attempt by CRED, the celebrities and the scriptwriters, using celebrities to poke fun at advertisers' obsession with celebrity endorsements. Devaiah in this conversation talks about his career from engineering to creative writing, how he failed at his first interview with AIB and then went on to being AIB's head writer, what it takes to be a leader of a group of highly talented and ambitious writers, the impact of OTT platforms in the new media world, his process of creative thinking and scriptwriting.
Hi, Pritish. Thank you so much for having me. And I just see there's so much pressure by calling yourself the 1% Project. And it's just like, I have to be there now. Like, I can't even be the top 2%. Like, I have to be in the top 1%. High pressure situation here.
Well, all your work that you have done definitely puts you in the 1%.
I will tell that to all my clients when they come ask me for my invoice that, hey, I'm in the top 1%, so you better pay me like the top 1%.
I was going through your profile, and what intrigued me is that you graduated as an engineer from Bangalore and then landed up going to Ogilvy. And from there, you transitioned to be the head writer at AIB. Now you've co-founded All Things Small. So what did the 7 years of Ogilvy teach you about advertising?
I went to Ogilvy in Bangalore, and I was in about 3 agencies in the 7 years. Like 2 were in Bangalore and 1 was in Bombay. So what did advertising in like general teach me was it gave me a good regimental training towards creative thinking, because you don't have the luxury of saying that I'm only going to work when inspiration strikes me, or I'm not feeling it today, so I don't think I can write, because you can't bullshit your clients with those kind of things. If he calls me saying that, hey, where's that ad film? I can't say, man, I didn't find inspiration today. I won't find a job the next day. So what happens is with advertising, it gives you that regimental training towards creativity, where you are forced to think and write no matter how you are feeling or what the situation is. And it teaches you to like respect deadlines and be very professional about something as unburdened and irrational as a creative process is. Makes it more professional and gives you that discipline in terms of writing. So that's what 7 years of advertising taught me. It also taught me how to think in boxed environment, because you have like a brief, you have like image, you have like a brand tone, and then you have only 30 seconds. So there is a lot of conditions that go into before even you put pen to paper. So putting all those conditions in place, it and you still have to think creative, and you put you in a box and say think out of the box. So that kind of teaches you a lot in those high stress situations. So it teaches you how to deal with high pressure when you have a lot of conditions guiding what you're going to do.
What does creativity mean to you?
Creativity for me is essentially disciplined curiosity, where just being curious about things that exist and curious about things that don't exist. And you just keep asking yourself why, what, when, how, to everything that you encounter in your life, and you just start looking for interesting answers. So for me, it's just as simple as that.
In your 7 years of your ad life, which were the most creative brands that you ever worked with? And why were they creative?
So to be very honest, the first 7 years of my advertising career, right, I didn't do enough noticeable work. Like when I look back, it was like I kind of failed in advertising the first 7 years. I did a lot of work. I did like some really interesting work with some terrific people, but none of it came out. Like, what happens is like you have a bunch of ads, you go present to client, and then it depends on the client's mood. And then there are like, then you have your colleagues also presenting, and essentially the client picks one of them. I just feel that most of the interesting work I did in my advertising years stayed back in my hard disk. It didn't. So I feel there were creative times. Like I worked with like some fascinating people with from whom I learned probably everything I know about writing and creative thinking and like branding and brand building. Like I worked with this guy called Vipul Tucker, who was last as the national creative director of Dentsu. So I worked with him in Ogilvy, and I worked under him also in DDB Mudra. So I mean, they were fun years. Like you are working with fun set of people doing fun set of things, and hoping the work gets out. But for me, none of my good work I thought got out. Like like there were 2-3 campaigns that did get out, but nothing that was big, like nothing that captured like people's imagination or any of that sort of things.
How did you convince Tanmay and team to hire you?
Yeah, so essentially, like I was saying, it was 2015, and I just felt that my advertising career was not going anywhere. I started off very promisingly and all things were going good, and then essentially felt, I mean, I was just feeling that stagnation. And what happened was, uh, and there was this whole content economy that was booming. Content on the internet was doing supremely well, but the big advertising agencies just pretended like that didn't happen. And there was no interesting work happening in that sphere in mainline advertising. So I was kind of bored. And then AIB, the roast had just come out and they had blown up, and they were looking to expand and scale up. And they were before that just the four of them, and they had two editors, and they were looking for a writing team. And through the network, they just got referred to me by one other person who they had just hired as a writer. Then I met Tanmay and gang, and then they sent me a copy test, essentially like a comedy test, which I failed in the first shot. I sent the test back and worked on it for 2 weeks, and then Tanmay replied saying, he called and he said like, honestly, it's not very good, and it kind of irritated me. And he's like, but this person who referred you feels that you're still really good, so I'll give you another test. I'll send that across. Why don't you just do that? And that test I don't think I spent more than 2-3 hours on it. I was like, screw you. Like I spent 2 weeks and you rejected 2 years, 2 hours, and I sent that, and that he really liked. And then he called and he said like, let's just make this happen. Why don't you move? And then I put in my papers, and like I put in my papers at Low Lentas. It was a big agency. Like everything was set, like cushy career. I just put in my papers and decided to join this YouTube channel, which was run out of an apartment in Warsaw in Mumbai, and that's how AIB happened.
No way, you gave up on a comfortable life to join a YouTube startup?
Yes, it was like I think my parents at that point were like, this guy's just lost his mind. First he does engineering, gives that up and joins advertising. And now when things are pretty much set, and the best part is that just my wife's father at that point, I was dating her. So her dad was reluctant and all these things. And he had finally agreed to sort of meet me. And then I didn't tell him I had quit advertising and I joined. Firstly, to tell him like All India Bakchod is like not the best thing to start off with a potential father-in-law. So I hid that little information from him, and I told him I'm still in advertising the first time I met him. But later on, I cleared up, but I still didn't come clean fully. I said I worked in this YouTube company, like in this YouTube channel. I work for this YouTube channel. Never told him the name. We've never discussed this so far, but he knows where I worked for. It's like an open secret at home.
That's very interesting. So, why did you guys think that AIB is going to be a success?
I mean, honestly, I didn't spot them early or anything. The roast had come out and the roast had blown up, and we saw like what that did to the content atmosphere in the country. And I'm like, here are guys doing exciting work which everyone is talking about. And I mean, they've done this one massive piece of content which everyone is talking about. and they understand the internet. And when I met them, they are four supremely smart guys. And when you follow them on Twitter and read about their thoughts on and takes on situations and things, you kind of figure out these are smart people. Just it was just that leap of faith, like four smart people starting a company, and they put something out that has done well. Like, how badly wrong can it go? I've always had this one filter through which I look at every new career opportunity is like the mistake shouldn't be boring. Like what I'm saying, like a boring mistake would have been joining another big ad agency if one ad agency is not working out. So even if this whole thing had blown up, it would have been a very interesting mistake. So, and I just like took that plunge.
After failing the first test, you landed up being the head writer at AIB. Is writing the great skill you need to be a head writer? It's people management.
That's a very interesting question. So, the answer is you need to be a good writer in any case, because you are leading perhaps the smartest writing teams in the country. And you have exceptional writers who are working in the team who I see. The thing is, you need to be good for all of them to have, for all of them to respect you. But the very early on, I learned that I'm not better than most of them in the team. Some people are exceptionally talented, way better than me. But that is not what heading a team is about. Like heading a team can't be that you are the best person doing that job. It's more about like enabling everyone to do the job. So I mean, it is, you have to be like a certain threshold of talent for you to know, like, if there is a mistake, for you to spot the mistakes in writing and be able to suggest some solutions. But to sit and solve the problem and actually write, you don't have to be the best writer in the room. And I've seen this because most of the people who worked at AIB as writers are very good. Like they're very good at their job. And I think of like there few of them are way better than me as writers. I mean, there's no false or fake humility, but that's genuinely the case. But people management skills are extremely important to make sure that these really talented people who have, especially in a creative field where they have their own set of opinions, their own egos, their own insecurities, which also fuel every bit of creativity they have. So to manage all that, you don't have to be the best writer in the team. So I think it's a combination. It's more people management, but the foundation is you have to be good at your job.
So you're saying that you are the Mahendra Singh Dhoni of the writer's room.
Well, I mean, I didn't make that much money. So
How do you, when you write a script, this is going to work?
it's through experience. So what happens is, firstly, there is honestly no one can tell you exactly if this is going to work or not. Okay, that so many times we've written scripts, gone short, and it's turned out like shit. We've never uploaded it. Okay, so what happens? So many times you think, huh, this script is fine. I mean, this sketch will work, and then it's gone short. It comes out really good. Like it's just like extremely funny. Because there's a lot of variables at play. There is like your acting, then there is like direction, then there is so there are so many variables at play for a script to pop. But you will after a point start understanding when you look at the script if this is going to work or not, just through experience, because you've trained yourself reading, writing, and we used to write for what, 14-15 hours every day. So you understand like the anatomy of a joke, like how a joke is structured, and you will know like what kind of jokes will work, what kind of jokes will not work. When you look at a script, you will, through experience, you can sort of be 70% accurate if this is going to do well or not do well. And that only comes through experience of writing, shooting, and executing. And just through experience, you get to know. You'll be like, okay, this is hitting these beats. This is going to land like this. This a joke similar to this is something that we did in like a previous shoot and it went well. So this is following that similar rhythm. So this is going to work well again, hopefully this time. So you understand through experience.
From AIB, you moved on to co-founding All Things Small, where you focus actually on true stories within the Indian subcontinent. So what are these stories? What intrigues you? What is your team looking for?
We like wound up things at AIB. I was like, okay, what next? I was doing as freelancing for a bunch of clients. I was doing writing, directing a bunch of videos there. Money was good, everything, but like there was this the, freelancing is such a limbo where you where it's very hard to gauge growth when you freelance, right? Because you are more worried about landing gigs because of the uncertainty of the future as a freelancer, and there is very little growth it offers. So I was just looking for something more stable, something more in terms of stability, in terms of career progression. And I was very clear about one thing: I don't want to do comedy. I don't want to do anything related to anything I was doing at AIB, because that will not be a change in chapter. It will literally be me trying to rewrite the same things and the same chapter. So then this opportunity came up when a bunch of my friends were setting up this company called All Things Small, and it really appealed to me what they were trying to do. So I said, yeah, let's do this, and then I kind of joined them. We want to basically be a content studio that finds researchers everything that has got to do with true story content. It could be like a movie based on a true story, or it could be a pure play documentary, it could be a docu series, it could be a sports documentary. It's anything real and true. That, and plus our founding team has a couple of very senior journalists part of the founding team. Like the founders, a couple of co-founders are senior journalists. So basically leverage journalism and turn them into profitable IPs by sort of turning journalistic stories into profitable IPs, like a podcast series or like a docu series or like a full-fledged uh, you know uh, adaptation for a fiction movie. So that is what we want to do.
How have OTT platforms transformed the entertainment landscape?
They have transformed this whole thing in a massive way, to be honest. Like they have completely changed the game in terms of they have democratized content. What was happening earlier was that it was like India in the 80s, where there is this false sense that everyone is equal in socialism. But if you look at the industrialist of the 80s and 90s, you could open an industry or a factory or become big only if you were hand in glove with the government. Like, you it was all this license Raj kind of situation. So I feel the Indian entertainment industry was like that. Like, no, you to sort of put a piece of content out, or to make a movie, or to write a series or a show, whatever, there were just a few people doing it, and it was a very close circle of people, very hard to break into. But what happened when OTT came up is that it just democratized content. Like the people get what they want to get. You cannot, like, they want interesting stories, they will get interesting stories. What used to happen earlier is there are just a few families controlling the cinemas, so whatever they put out you have to watch. There is no option other than that. Even as a consumer, if you demand something smart, if the whole market is producing a certain kind of content, you have to watch that. There is no choice.
You recently co-wrote the CRED IPL ads.
Hmm.
What are you guys trying to communicate through the ad series?
so, so whatever is in the ad, like download cred. So essentially, I think it is a brand building campaign, which is asking people to download cred and pay your credit card bills through cred. It's as simple as that. So, and that is exactly what the communication also is asking people to do, and that is the idea behind the campaign.
What do you think is the magic of the campaign? Is it that people don't get it at the first go, or is it the legendary actors and influencers in it?
I think it is, like, personally, if you ask me, I think it is why it has created such a huge buzz is because the way celebrity advertising is done in India is is very different. Like so far, it almost paints the celebrity as the hero and like a very revered figure, even in the advertising that they do. But with this campaign, we sort of turned it over its head and gave it a very fresh, interesting spin on how celebrities can be part of advertising campaigns. And I think that is what has kind of created this buzz around the campaign.
And how did you guys come up with the idea?
to be honest, we were thinking of a lot of ideas, and this was just one of them. And I honestly don't remember the exact moment this idea was cracked, because we were cracking a lot of ideas. We went through the whole list, and then we had two routes of ideas that we liked. One was this, and one was another route. And we took that to the client, and then we just rolled with this route. I think, as far as I remember, I mean, my memory might be a little off. I think Tanmay had something like this. So we were discussing on the Zoom call for a while, and Tanmay had something like using a celebrity to, in a different way, to sort of sell cred. I think it started from there. And then we're like, hey, what if we do it like this? What if we do it like that? What if we write a song? What if we do this? What if we structure it like this? What if it's an audition? So we kind of, like, Tanmay had this one thought and idea, and then we sort of use that as a springboard to create this.
And what was Kunal's first reaction when he heard this?
He just, like, I feel he just liked it. Like, I mean, he immediately liked how it sounded and what it was doing to the brand. And see, like, a lot of people are like writing into us saying that this is so good and like it's so different and everything. But I think, like, I'm not just saying this because whatever, they are clients and they're paying us, but is genuinely like a campaign like this would not have gone through in 2015 when I was in advertising. And even now, a campaign like this will not go through, because they will overanalyze, over intellectualize, overthink, and just kill it. And to be honest, I thought that is what is going to happen to even this campaign. But I was just so shocked. Like, everyone in the client said, yeah, this is good. Okay, write the script. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. Oh, okay. I was thinking, okay, the edit is going to come out, and on the edit, they're going to be like, hey, let's change this. This is not nothing. They just like greenlit it, and it was just blind trust and faith in what we were doing, and they just trusted us blindly with this. And it was not just blind trust, but they got it. They immediately got the potential this had, and they backed it. They didn't cut corners at any point. So I mean, extremely brave clients who didn't fear failure. Because what, you can do an emotional ad, you can do, like, most advertising out there is very safe. That it is safe simply because the person who is heading the marketing department in that company wouldn't want to lose his or her job. So what they will do is they will go for something safe that will that will just work. But with campaigns like this, especially when humor is involved, if the joke doesn't land, you fail very publicly, and you will literally become the butt of all jokes if the joke doesn't land, if it doesn't turn out well. So it's very risky that someone does very edgy, funny campaigns. But I think the CRED team that way, I mean, hats off to Kunal and Trupti and everyone there. They were just like, they just backed us, and yeah, thankfully it's doing decently well.
It's doing incredibly well. But the most interesting piece of it is that how did you guys convince the actors to do this?
I mean, I honestly don't know, because the scripts were sent to the actors and they all agreed. And then there was no change from anybody's end. So I'm just guessing they also look at the script and they also felt it was funny. And they were like, hey, this is funny. It's coming from a good place. And the script is very good. So why not? I'm guessing they are just being pitched bad advertising scripts all these years. So, and we've just assumed that most celebrities don't have a sense of humor, but like, it clearly shows that most of them do, because they agreed to be a part of this campaign. And like, obviously, the campaign is directed fantastically. It's directed by Ayappa, who's easily the best ad filmmaker in the country now. He's perhaps like one of the best, like, up there with everyone at a global level as well. He's won the Cannes before. I don't know if you see, his work is phenomenal. Have you seen the Khali ads for Ambuja Cement?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been consistently doing stellar, clutter breaking work for 10 years now. So we were very lucky when he came on board to direct this. And I mean, the minute he agreed to direct this, I knew that this is going to turn out epic. So yeah, so everything kind of fell into place: the director, the client, the actors, the jokes. So it was just like good alignment of stars.
Sure. You mean the literal stars.
Metaphorical stars also.
What is the process behind writing a script for you?
For me, the most important thing is I will not put pen to paper till I have an insightful idea. Also, it depends what I'm writing for. If I'm writing for a client, or if I'm writing for myself, or if I'm writing for, like, if I when I have to write sketches for at AIB, I think everything needs to be rooted in a truthful observation. Like, I think till you get a very truthful, unique, fresh observation into a particular situation, I will not put pen to paper. So even if it takes a day, 2 days, 3 days, go through 50, 60 ideas thinking, till that truthful observation sort of comes and stares at you in the face, you don't like put pen to paper. So for me, that finding the truth, even in, it might be like, it doesn't depend on the genre. Like, it could be emotional, it could be serious, it could be funny, but like, it has to be rooted in the truth. So that for me is the most important thing before I start writing.
So, which is one ad from the yesteryears you appreciate and you think was amazing?
Oh, so many. Like I love the bingo ads which
Hmm.
came out from 2008 to 2000, right up to 2011. Bingo commercials are very good. Then I like, obviously, the legendary Fevicol ad, which is like
Yeah.
just continues to be played even today. I mean, a lot of what Piyush Pandey used to do was phenomenal advertising. But like, the Vodafone ads are really good. The Zuzu campaign is particularly amazing. There's so many of them. So many good ads and ad campaigns have come out of India.
So now we're going to head into a rapid fire. So one word or one sentence.
Nice. Do I get a coffee hamper at the end of this?
Sure. Though I'm not Karan Johar. So I will send you a virtual one.
Done.
So the hardest thing about your job.
Thinking.
One book or a blog that has influenced you.
The Illicit Happiness of Other People. It's a book by Manu Joseph.
Your favorite superhero.
I don't watch superhero movies or read superhero fantasy comic books at all.
But you're into creative writing. Amazing.
Yeah.
The most creative person you have ever worked with.
Everyone at AIB. Definitely Tanmay Bhatt. Yeah. Right up there.
Define Tanmay Bhatt in one word.
Relentless.
How would you define your career in one word in the next 10 years?
Interesting. Yeah.
It was amazing talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Pritish. I hope it's turned out well, and I hope it's the top 1% in the top 1% podcast series that you have.
Absolutely. It is the topmost till now. It's the most hilarious for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You can find the show notes for this episode and every other episode on 1%.live. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it on social media and leave a review. See you next time.